So in this episode, I change out the cylinder head on my 77. It's an 18V engine block, of course, being a 77, but it had an early head on it because the original 18V had a crack in it, the head. But the early ones don't really go well on the 18V because it lowers your compression ratio below 8:1 with those larger combustion chambers in the cylinder head. So I wanted to get back to an 18V head. Got one that was good, rebuilt. So we put that on in this episode, but then I run into a gigantic vacuum leak. So stick around for the video. It's a kind of funny surprise. So I've got this head just about prepped to take off. I have one more stud back here. So what I did was I took all the studs first off of the intake manifold, get the SU carbs off. Took off the coolant lines from the heater, and you can see I just kind of zip tied it back here that goes normally to the heater back there. Took off this coolant line. Oh, first I drained the coolant out of it too, using the bottom hose down there. And then on this side of the engine, you really just have to take off the heater valve. So of course you want to undo the stud bolts using the correct kind of pattern. So here in the Haynes manual, basically you want to do a big circle when undoing them or bolting down the head. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going around, starting with 1 and 2 was back here, 3, and it's a big circle, doing some circles like around it. So uncompressing the cylinder head. And when I remove the rocker, I put the push rods into a piece of cardboard numbered, so those go back in the same order. Now let's take this head off. Okay, yeah, that's coming up. Now our other option is to try to remove some of these studs. Maybe I'll do that. All right, so I'm going to take these studs off. What I'm doing is just putting 2 of the bolts on, tighten the bolt down on itself, and then we can basically use either one because I got it tight enough now to get this stud out almost by hand. So I'll do that for these 4 here. Okay, I got a bunch of the studs out, but not 1, 2, 3 of them. Okay, there we go. Let's get our first look at everything here. Looking pretty good. I don't think the head gasket was shot. All right, since the last video, I've got this head out. This is an older head for non-18V engines, so it's got the larger combustion chambers, lowering my compression ratio. Now I'm getting the head completely cleaned with a clean rag here just to get everything super clean, both surfaces, including the head as well, and the deck. Okay, here we've got our Lucas head gasket. I do know that. Clean head. My back. Come on, girl. Yeah. There it goes. Like a glove. We'll get them in a little tighter. So, let's turn. Since the last video, I finally got an 18V head all in there. All I need to do is put coolant in, and I've got everything hooked up, and we can start her up here. So this was a head I got locally for a couple $100 that had obviously maybe been redone years ago and then had never been run. It was super clean and just sat, but it looked like it was used at some point and then machined. It wasn't like a brand new off the shelf head. All right, found what I think is probably the issue with this vacuum leak. Behind the heat shield, I finally found kind of some space, even though the carburetors are tightened all the way down. So here we are looking at the SUs from the front. And I actually have, probably not gonna be able to see it too well, I was able to put a feeler gauge in there, right in there where my middle finger is, behind the heat shield and the intake. And even though I've got the carbs tightened all the way down, so I'm gonna take everything off and maybe you have to bend this heat shield a bit, get a better seal in there. I have the paper gasket in there in the back, but it's apparently not doing enough. Well, the term major idiot comes to mind. I took off the metal heat shield and thought, why is this not sitting well in here? Guess what was on there? A lock washer. When I took everything off last time, I guess I put the washers and the nuts back on when I was putting the new head on. And yep, probably was looking for that lock washer. That's how it goes. So let's get that off, clean things up, put some new gaskets on. I think I have some. You can see here I was messing with, gee, is it the brake vacuum for the booster? Was it this one? So I need to clean those up again and put everything back together. I've even got the belt off right now because I was wondering if that squeak sound was coming from that.